Good morning. My name is John Thompson. I'm one of the Parkview School Board members, and I'm here today with Karen Strandt. She is our elementary school principal, and we're going to talk a little bit about pieces of the referendum that help support the elementary school. So, Karen, what impact will it have on the elementary school to restore the school counselor for the elementary school in particular?
Well, I can speak to up until this year, we've always had a school counselor at the elementary school. Some of the tasks that position performs is support for all students at the school. So we do educate people in social emotional learning, SEL, and that's something that the school counselor helps with going into classrooms, whole group instruction. Here at the elementary school, we have what we call Family Fridays, which is afternoon focused on how do we support kids with their social emotional learning. So again, helps all kids. We do identify some kids that seem to have more behavioral or social emotional issues, and a school counselor can provide group support to students. So running of groups. They can do individual support. We have some kids that we have check-in, check-out plans where they're talking with parents. And then also really to support caregivers, either parents or guardians. Often they get called, the school counselor will get called saying, I'm having these challenges. Can you refer me to some outside agencies? So it has been a full-time position, and I will tell you right now, we've had student services trying to answer some of the demand that we have, and it's very challenging to do so. So much so that we're trying to connect with outside agencies because we have such a great need of kids needing counseling, and they're not getting it. So we're really trying hard to have that person come back so we can really support our kids.
So that person kind of works alongside you, works alongside the teachers, works independently, whatever the need is, that they just kind of jump in and fill that to help give that support to the kids.
They in the past, our school counselor has met with the teachers, each grade level teachers, and they'll discuss what are the issues going on around social emotional issues in the classroom. If a teacher needs, they can reach out to our group, social student services group. A school counselor can do something that's called a functional behavioral assessment. So they will go in the classroom, do observations, talk to the student, talk to the parents, and try to figure out why is this happening, and then also develop plans to help support kids. So it's an integral part to helping really support kids' social emotional learning and just being able to do well performing in the classroom behaviorally.
Okay, all right. So we talked a little bit last night about Act 20 at the school board meeting, and maybe people have heard about that. What is that, and why are we needing money in a referendum to address that?
Well, Act 20 is a large act that the state of Wisconsin is now looking at specifically at early literacy. The state of Wisconsin has been trying to help students increase their reading scores, and so Act 20 is pretty prescriptive in terms of what they're requiring us to do, and that specifically is looking at what kind of instruction we're doing for our kids in 4K, 5K, kindergarten, first, second, third. Really, it emphasizes the science of reading, which is something that has been really focused on in the last couple of years. The science of reading really talks about having a specific instruction in phonology, or knowing letter sounds, how those sounds work together to make words. And so last year, a number of us went through specific training, either letters training or another training through CISA to really get the understanding of how do we better support the science of reading within the classrooms. That's what Act 20 is saying that we have to do. So we're required by law to get our primary schools teachers to be understanding the whole science behind reading, no phonology, no phonemic instruction. So that's going to require us time to have the teachers be able to get that specific training. Act 20 also requires then that we implement that into the classroom, and then really to provide screening for kids and anybody that falls below the 25th percentile on our screening. It requires us to do even more diagnostic or more testing on the kids to say what specifically isn't working for a kiddo, and how do we write a plan to show that we're able to give the right supports that they need so that they can better learn that. And so that Act 20 will really require us to, 1, do the training, 2, training on diagnostics, and 3, training on how do you develop those plans of support for kiddos.
Okay. And that's not funded by the state, am I right? And that's kind of what we've talked about. We're not sure if there's any funding coming, but we have that expectation to provide it.
At least what we've heard so far is very little of it is being funded. We're hearing that the state is going to pick out one screening tool,
Okay.
and that may be funded. But in terms of the training itself and the curriculums that we choose and some of the materials that we need, no, it's not state mandated.
Okay. So that's
funded
dollars we got
program.
to pick up and pay
Yep.
for. Yeah.
Yep.
All right. So one of the other items being asked for in the operational referendum is a school psychologist. I know we already have one in the district. Why do we need 2? How does that help us to have one in both school?
I do think, just like we talked about in the first question you asked me about, why would we need a school counselor restored? This goes online. I do think that we have mental health is a big issue for us, not just in Orfordville, but the state of Wisconsin, and I would say nationally. And we're seeing some of that mental health play out even with our youngest of kids, either through their behavior that we're seeing or through reports from parents. So specifically trying to help address mental health issues. That being said, a school psychologist does quite a bit. We're required to do special education evaluations, and that school psychologist is in every evaluation that we do for a special education student.
So that's a lot of time to do those, right?
Correct. And so not only do we have to do initial evals, so to get a student into either a special education program or a 504 program, but every 3 years we have to do those evaluations again to say what are the current needs for that student. So quite a bit of time is designated to doing special education or 504 evaluations. Just like the school counselor, the school psych is also used to provide either one-on-one or group support to students. We have situations where students may say they're suicidal. We've had that happen at the high school. We've had that happen at the elementary school. Again, just some of the mental health supports and needs of our students. It becomes very challenging for that one school psychologist to try to meet the needs of everything going on from that kid that you might have to drop everything to provide that support to the evaluations that are happening at the special ed level. So I think a school psychologist has a unique background and training, and specifically helps in many instances, and trying to do that across 2 different schools has become incredibly challenging.
Yeah, trying to do that over 800 students, trying to figure that's a lot
Correct.
of
Yep.
a lot of work, because it's, we're pushing 900 students now,
Mm-hmm.
and so that's a lot of investment. And I know from being a pastor, that's something that I see come across my desk and my email, that mental health issues have just grown exponentially in the last three years. And so it's a big issue that we need help with.
Exactly, and school psychologists are. It's hard to find school psychologists. We have an incredible school psych, and often I will end the day walking out with the school psych at about 6 o'clock.
Yeah.
So it's not as if she's not putting in extra hours above and beyond, and so really, trying to balance that workload and better. I think having 2 school psychologists, we'd be able to better support the social emotional needs, especially if some of our most challenging, the kids with the most challenging behaviors.
Yeah, because we gotta take care of our kids, absolutely. So, all right. Well, thank you for your time. Thank you for watching the video. And if you have questions about this, please contact Dr. Anderson. He's kind of our point person. If you have questions, send him an email, give him a call here at the district office. Have a great day.